It was a very, very challenging year for me.
And you lost 20 kilos and you went and became Miss Universe Malta.
I wasn't good enough to be Miss Universe. I went to hell, licked the floor, and came back out again.
It's like a hero story. Hello, my name is Daria.
And I'm Nicola. My name is Nicola. Welcome to Empowered Beauty. And today we have our special guest, Maxine Formosa Gruppetta, Miss Universe Malta.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Very good. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
It's our pleasure.
It's a privilege to be here.
Thank you.
First of all, our congratulations.
And thank you very, very much. Thank you.
And we would like to know about your journey. Share with us your feelings, your emotions.
So my journey as Miss Universe. My journey actually started 2 years ago. So I actually enrolled to join Miss Universe Malta. It was the first pageant that I had attended, never was in the industry before. And it's something I actually got into because of my grandmother. My grandmother, unfortunately, got very, very sick. And her last dying wish was that she'd like to see me perform on a Miss Universe stage. So I enrolled in Miss Universe Malta. I represented my home country, my home village, St. Julian's. And it was a really nice journey, actually. It's something I'm really, really happy that I went on to do, because I kind of understood who I am and what my interests were. And those are things that I could kind of grow on. Unfortunately, my grandmother didn't make it to see me at Miss Universe, but I went, I did my very best, and given that it was my first time enrolling in a pageant, I came third. So the term is second runner-up. Then afterwards, about 2 months later, my father passed away very tragically, very suddenly. He had a heart attack, and it was a very, very emotional time for me, and it's something that none of us were really expecting, and my father and I were very, very close. We had a really, really close connection, and it was a shock to us. So I spent a long time grieving, and I grieved very, very badly. And then 2 months later, the director of Miss Universe approached me and came up to me with a proposal, and basically said that for the next year of Miss Universe, instead of putting his budget into a competition here in Malta, he wanted to pick a delegate and invest all of his money into training her, to prepare her for Miss Universe, to hopefully basically get Malta to place a better role in Miss Universe abroad. And it was an opportunity that fell into my lap, and it's something that I couldn't say no to, and I just felt like I owed it to my grandmother and my father. In fact, afterward, that's what I said to my director. After my father died, I was going through his phone and I was seeing the videos that he had taken of me at Miss Universe. And I was seeing him cheering me on, and it was like, I felt like I owed it to them to finish off my journey doing that.
It sounds like the universe gave you a gift.
Yes.
In a way. You suffered so much, and then, you had this great opportunity, which is once in a lifetime, I would say.
Very,
so really was.
I feel like it was like a gift from them, from my angels, in that sense. Yes. So I went on to do it. It was a very, very challenging year for me, because I was battling grieving my father, but then having to put on a brave face, put on makeup, show up at fashion shows, at events, try to be a motivational speaker for some people as well, visiting schools. So that for me was a very big challenge, and I feel like if I had to go back, I would choose to do it all over again, because I feel like it is what has molded me to be the woman I am today. So then I started preparing. I was going to an academy in America, in Houston, and I was training with them every single week. So they were training me on.
We have a few questions to ask about that, because I'm quite intrigued being a makeup artist. So knowing that you went to Texas to the academy, what vital tips and tricks did you learn, beauty-wise, skincare and makeup? Because I can imagine you were told by the best people in the industry, how to do certain things that maybe the average person wouldn't know.
Yes. So basically, one important tip that she had always taught us was that make sure the night before you do a nice skin routine for your makeup, to be able to make sure you have a nice clean face.
Yes.
So before I had any event, that requires a full face of makeup on the night before, I'm always washing my face and cleansing it with my routine, which I can speak about later. And then putting on a face mask, something hydrating, obviously to make sure that the makeup doesn't soak up in your skin, because when you put that makeup for multiple times during a week or in a month, your face can really like soak in and take in,
and stretching the skin.
Exactly. So make sure I use a hydrating mask. I suffer myself with very dark eye circles when I don't wear makeup. In fact, you were telling me, we had this discussion last time, you said it was because I have olive skin.
Exactly.
And
it's hereditary as well.
Exactly, if I get it from my mother in that case. And I always use eye patches and under eye patches just to make sure that my skin doesn't look so dull. And then obviously the next day, cleaning my face in the morning, and I always make sure I go with a clean, moisturized face. A tip that I also learned is that every time I have a photo shoot or fashion show, or even a podcast like this, for example, always put on sunblock, because of the light that everyone uses in terms of when you're actually recording and taking photos. It can really kind of damage your skin with the UV rays.
So it's becoming like a mantra.
Yes, I'm always making that.
I do your sunblock and Nicola every day when we meet, like, have you applied your sun, dear?
And I am very religious in OTT because the sun is so damaging. Even sitting in your own home, the rays come through the window, so it's very important. And I don't know if they had told you that you need to use a sunblock that doesn't have a white cast, because it reflects with photography.
Yes.
So I'm sure that will
exactly. So in fact, I have a special one. I have a skincare range that I was given when I was at Miss Universe, and in fact, this is one of the points that is part of the sunblock. And then obviously, something that she always told me was to take my time doing my makeup, because I'm a very, very last minute person. I like to do my makeup very, very fast and quick because I feel like I have a million other things to do. So always take my time. And it's actually very, very true, because at Miss Universe, we have to do our own hair and makeup for the show, because we're 87 candidates.
That's final.
On the final, my makeup was my own makeup look. There is a company called Muba. They do finishing touches, but your base you have to do most of the time. In fact, on the preliminary show, I didn't even go to Muba because I didn't have time. And I spent an hour and 45 minutes doing my own makeup. And when I see myself taking the time to do my own makeup and then doing it in 5 minutes, the difference is unbelievable.
That's what they say when you go to a professional makeup artist, they're like, an hour? That's really average. And they can't believe, but you're doing so many steps to make the makeup last longer, to be more perfectionist, in a professional way. So, yes, you're seeing it on a non-sort of makeup artist way, but you've learned to do it in a makeup artist way.
So even now when I go to events, I'm always constantly doing my own makeup. So I'm always trying to remind myself, okay, do not plan 15 minutes for your makeup. Make sure everything you do, you leave like 2 hours to get ready. And then some people, like I always say, 2 hours to get ready. Like, I hate like being one of those girls who takes 2 hours to get ready, but you actually need it. Like it's very, very important that you really need it. And then always very important that when you're there, I always use primer, and then the usual. Now, obviously, different makeup artists, and you can correct me here, all have their own different take on how they do their makeup. Some people prefer to start off with the eyes.
There's no right or wrong.
Exactly.
It's what you feel comfortable.
Exactly. Exactly. I found out that with myself, because I like to use pigmented eyeshadows, I need to do my eyes first, because then if I do my base first,
and constantly taking comfort of it all.
Exactly. And then I end up with a patch over here and have foundation here, and it doesn't. So it's kind of a process of trial and error, and that's something growing up. I was always looking at YouTube videos and makeup tutorials.
Now it's super easy to learn to do makeup,
now there's
TikToks, Instagram and Reels. It's very easy. Just you need, like you said, you need the time to dedicate to practice.
Exactly.
It's like an art.
Trial and error at the end of the day. And then obviously very important to take your makeup off afterwards. I used to be very, very easy with that. And I admit it's very, very wrong. But I used to really delay taking my makeup off, and then sometimes I'd be like, I'll take it off tomorrow.
The good trick is what I do, because everyone, even me, I pass through that. As soon as I walk into the door at home and I know I'm not going out, I go and take it off immediately. Because I don't leave it till I'm tired. Because then when I'm tired, they say, and you wouldn't clean, you do it quickly.
Exactly.
You wouldn't do your nighttime step regime,
That's it.
So get home, if you know you're not going out again, go wash your face, do your skincare, And you're ready.
I'm going to take it.
Well, it's true. As in, at the end of the day, a lot of people don't like to admit it. And when I have conversations with friends and girls, and they're like, "Oh no, as if I take off my makeup when I never sleep with my makeup on," But in reality, we all have a time where we do it, and it's nothing to be ashamed about per se.
No, exactly.
It's just being.
It's your pillowcase that's gonna have the problems.
A bit of scrubbing the day after,
but foundation or blusher, it's not a pretty sight.
Exactly. And then that's really it. And then obviously I try to make sure that I really wash my face. And after I make sure I have a full face of makeup, I try to use... I have 2 different types of cleansers that I have at home, which is one is a very deep enzyme cleanser, and then one is just a normal cleanser. And I always try to make sure that I use the deep one. I don't use it too often because it can affect your skin a bit too much because it's a bit too strong. But like at the moment, I'm having a bit of a
because it's exfoliating.
So I use it when I'm breaking out, when I need a deeper cleanse, and then I use my second lighter cleanser to make sure it does the work of actually cleaning the pores.
So we've got to know each other quite well recently, and you let me know that around 2 years ago that you were 20 kilos heavier.
Yes.
Which, wow.
Very big difference.
So you lost 20 kilos and you went and became Miss Universe Malta.
Yes.
That's a very good achievement.
Yes.
Very big achievement.
It's like a hero story. A hero had to have a challenge.
You've lived so many personas in your young life. It's so inspirational.
You're still 22, isn't it?
22, exactly.
22 years old.
23 at the end of the year.
Amazing.
So as you said, 22 years ago, I was heavier than I am now. And that basically boiled down to the fact that I never really saw that I really needed to lose weight per se. But then when I started getting into Miss Universe, I got in contact with a nutritionist. And she even told me, "Shlomo, listen, you don't need to lose so much weight." In fact, we had only planned to lose between 7 to 10 kilos. And it was basically because I had very bad eating habits. I used to love my desserts, donuts, pancakes, and I was always one of those that after I eat, I have to have a dessert. But otherwise,
unfortunately,
I'm still one of those girls today, don't worry. I just know I have to run a little bit more now to burn it off. But no, so I got in touch with a nutritionist, and she basically put me on a food plan diet. And it's actually something really interesting that not a lot of people know. But basically, the way that she plans out the diet plan is based on your blood type. So my blood type's O positive. And when you're at O positive, there are 7 foods that you cannot eat. I hope I remember them all. So there's like pork, egg yolk, caffeine, cauliflower, cabbage, all of these things that then don't...
random in a way.
Very, very random. And basically it causes inflammation in the skin. So in fact, that's what she told me. You're not fat. She told me, but you're just a little bit bloated. So I started cutting out all of these foods out of my diet. And this was something that I saw a very big change in, Again, it's very, very hard to lose the weight because you have to train at the same time. But as you say, abs are made in the kitchen, 80% of your diet is based around food. It's just 20% on training.
How long it took you to remove that extra weight?
So I started going to my nutritionist around April of 2021. And then I had my competition September of 2021. So then I would say between those months, I lost around 10 kilos because I started 75 kilos and I competed at around 63 kilos. But then obviously, as I had explained, my father passed away in December. So after 2 months, that's when my body kind of started getting to going through the grief and the shock. And automatically, because of my anxiety, the anxiety that came along with it, I wasn't being able to eat. If I was eating, I wasn't being able to hold down the food that I was eating. So that was, the next 10 kilos was the cause of my excessive weight loss.
Yes, you lost it in a negative way.
In a negative way. And I would say I lost it within about 3 to 4 months. So it was a very unhealthy way of losing it. In fact, a lot of people started messaging me afterwards when I was telling me, not even getting worried. And obviously I had my friends who did get worried, but then obviously people external that don't know you, they're like, "Oh my God, how did you lose all of your weight?"
What was the secret?
So then that's it. A lot of people ask, and I'm a very honest person. So I was literally said, I'm not going to tell you how I lost it because it was a very unhealthy way of losing it. It's not a way I recommend to speak on to other people. But no, isn't it? It's very much, it's something that I came to terms with, and I didn't allow it to upset me more than the situation I was already in, because when you're in a grieving situation like that, you start seeing everything bad. You start saying, oh my God, why did it happen to me? And it's just something I just had to accept. Obviously my family and my friends took it very badly. They were always there for me and always trying to help me get through it. Because again, I live here in Malta on my own, so I'm here. My mother and my sister live in London, and I am here just with my two grandparents. As I said, my grandmother had died the same year as my dad, and so did my grandfather as well. So within 10 months, I lost my grandfather, my grandmother, my dog technically, which was also still a shock because it's still part of the family, and my dad. And that's all from my dad's side. So I started feeling like, half of my family were eliminated. And
so your Maltese family, you can say, had all passed away in that brief...
It's actually my English side of the family, because my dad was half English and my nan was half English, half Irish. Okay. And my grandfather, my nan,
we have similar backgrounds.
Yes. I think I was like...
Irish, Welsh, Maltese.
Okay, nice.
And Sicilian as well.
All right, nice. I'd like to be half Italian, maybe kind of like it. I love it. But yes, that's kind of how I had really lost it, But then now it's more about, I kind of took the opportunity of the waitress as well because for me it kind of went hand in hand with Miss Universe. And what these are saying, Jitnit Aiba, it came at
the right time for it to happen.
So it was just a situation. I was like, you know what? There's nothing I can do about it. I'm just going to take it. And then I started, just maintaining it. So spoke to my nutritionist again, came up with a better diet plan because she was in contact with me the whole time, and even she was worried, obviously.
But you know what? Sorry to interrupt you, but I think you did it in a really healthy way. I think it's a good idea to go to a nutritionist and do it the healthy way, not just try to starve yourself or live off lettuce.
No. And she really promotes you to eat a lot. You have to eat 6 times a day, small meals, kind of cancelling out. I learned a very, very good trick. I know that the night before I have a show or an event of this sort, I always kind of have egg yolk. And not egg yolk, sorry, egg whites, because I can't eat egg yolk. So I have an egg white omelette, maybe with some crisp bread, rye bread, crackers, and then that's my dinner for the evening. So it's just
just protein.
It's just protein, and egg whites actually burn fat while you sleep. Ooh. So it's actually that is a little secret that I would like to tell people, because
I'm glad remember that.
That's what I find. So before I have a show or anything, and I need to make sure I have a flatter stomach, because you always kind of want to look good when you're modeling and things like that.
Cool.
So it's egg whites before dinner. That's a secret. But
yes, we've learned something very interesting.
So Maxine, you mentioned that you had some support during your journey when it comes to makeup. You had worked with nutritionist, and in the meantime you had a lot of challenges related to your relatives, personal ones. How did you manage stress and anxiety, which you mentioned, and tell us a bit more about your mental and emotional aspect?
So, as in other people ask me this, if I had to say myself, I tell you I didn't handle my stress very well. And I didn't handle it, obviously, because one of my bad eating habits came along. I had a few episodes where I would have literally lost it completely, down in the dumps. But I always lived by something that my mother always taught me, which was basically, you have 2 choices in life. You can either sit down, cry, and let a hole swallow you up for the rest of your life, or you can sit in bed, cry, absorb everything, but then get up and keep moving forward. And I think that's something, obviously, with my mother being in the UK, she really battled herself as well. Knowing that her daughter was going through all of this and not being able to be there, and you were her mother as well, of course, so you can probably understand that.
It's heartbreaking.
It is very heartbreaking. So I kind of felt like I owed it to my mother to want to help her as well. So it kind of was a factor of everything put together. But I thank my mother every day for teaching me that, because, again, I know how I felt, and I really did feel like a hole was swallowing me up. Something I literally say is that I went to hell, licked the floor, and came back out again, you know. Stronger, that's it, stronger. But everybody goes through these experiences, and something I learned as well is that if I'm going through something, you're going through something, Nicola, and you're going through something, Daria, we cannot compare to each other who is in a worse situation than others, because mine could be something on a scale, could be something level 3, yours could be level 7, yours could be level 10, and I at level 3 can say, oh my god, my world is ending, blah blah blah, but you at level 10 can keep on moving forward, but you cannot compare each other.
And I hope to stress differently.
That's it. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't understand as well, because everybody kind of feels like, okay, this is happening to me right now, my life is ending, my world is coming down to pieces, what am I going to do? You don't feel like a human being anymore. It's true, because life sometimes can really, really like take everything away from you. But again, you just have to keep your head up and keep moving forward. Take anything that comes to you and just keep on moving forward as much as you can. And
I must stop you. And I said this when I first heard your story, that at 22 years old, to be so in tune with life like that is amazing. I know you went to hell and back, and most people wouldn't spend a whole lifetime to go through all those challenges. Yeah. And for you to go through all of that within a space of 2 to 3 years is, and for you to have overcome all those challenges, that's what empowered beauty is, you know. It's literally you're a metamorphosis of empowered beauty in that sense.
But no, that's why I think it's very important, you know, as in I have friends of mine who tell me, like, you're not shy to speak about what you went through, you know, because you basically have to expose yourself. Some people would say I am here exposing myself now because I'm saying, you know, certain factors and certain chapters of my life that I went through. But how can I help? What person would I be, and what human would I be, and what Miss Universe would I be if I cannot speak about the experiences that I've been through, whether them be good or bad, and be able to benefit someone else? Because at the end of the day, some people are shy to speak about what they're going through, but there might be somebody that's listening to this podcast who's going through something, who doesn't have the ability to open up to other people as other people do. But at least if I can give a few...
Don't have any support.
That's it. And you do find people like that, you know. And I have sometimes women and men who message me on Instagram and tell me, you know, how did you go through this, you know? Even on another sector, where at the same time when I was dealing with all of the grieving of my father, I was on a global platform, an international platform, so not everybody knew my story, but at the same time of being Miss Universe, I was also battling, and even from people here in Malta and abroad, battling the fact that people were telling me that I wasn't good enough to be Miss Universe, people from Malta telling me that I don't speak the language properly, so how can I represent my country, other people telling me I'm too this, I'm too that. So at the same time, battling the grief of my father and having to listen to all of this negativity coming along, again, it kind of shadows your mind, and you're like, oh my god, like, what am I doing? Like, why am I here? Why am I doing this? But
you start challenging yourself.
That's the right. It is a challenge, you know, but it's one of these experiences that you kind of have to adopt. I think that's the best way to
learn to not listen to the noise. I think that's one thing. That's what I think you've discovered that at such a young age.
Yes.
That I've learned that recently. But, I think that's what, sometimes you have to stay on your mission, on your path, and not listen to the negative forces around you. And half of them is because they would love to be in your situation, or love to be in your mindset, or, you know, they don't know how to achieve their goals, and they're seeing you achieve your goals. So I think you're such a good role model for everyone, everyone your age, my age.
And use the very important word now, goal. It's important to have a goal because it kind of paves the way for you, and sometimes people get in the way, and your path starts to move, you start to divert, you start to get a bit lost. But I think what's most important is as soon as you have your goal, if you do get lost, you kind of find your way back into it again. And that's something I learned during Miss Universe. It's something I'm very grateful that I did Miss Universe for, because before I never understood what goals were, you know. Before I was Miss Universe, I was 20 years old. You know, you don't have goals at that age, you know, you just want to go out and have fun with your friends, you want to meet as many people as you can, you know. So I never really had goals, but when I did Miss Universe, It was a goal for me was wanting to lose weight. Another goal for me was trying to place in Miss Universe and become Miss Universe Malta so I can make my grandparents happy, you know. Another goal would have been to meet as many people as I could, you know. And it's you start paving all of these things along, and through these experiences, I think that's what's important as well. Experiences. Take as many experiences as you can.
They're very true.
You know, absorb everything, you know.
That's
You have to be
grow.
That's it.
These experiences in life, whether they're positive or negative, without you realizing, this is what makes you grow into the person that you become.
That's it. I think it goes very, very well hand in hand with communication. I think communication is very important as well, which not a lot of people kind of understand, because for me, communication is key. It's my bread and butter. I always communicate. It's something that my boyfriend always admires. He says, you wear your heart on your sleeve because you're constantly communicating about how you feel. Same with my mother, you know. If I'm with my sister, sometimes I don't do. My sister and I are very different characters. So I'm a person that any experience I go through, I'll message my mother and my sister and tell them everything. My sister's an introvert, you know, so any experience she goes through, she won't really mention it. She'll just absorb it and go through it. And I clash with my sister, and it's something I'm very aware about. I don't know, why is it that you don't tell me anything? Why do you leave me out? Why can you not tell me the experiences that you've gone through? You know, for me, I feel like it builds a wall. But for her, it's just normal. You know, and you have to understand that people are different characters as well, you know.
I'm sure she's probably not doing it from a bad place.
It's just how she not at all, not at all. But that's what you kind of, and because I never communicated how I had felt, feeling like, and she never communicated to me that is how she was, that is where kind of the tension is.
Misconception.
But the second you communicate about it, it just dissolves like water, you know, and it just keeps on flowing and flowing and flowing all the time. So these are just little lessons that, and even something as small as this is my sister, it's just something very, very small, but it's still a lesson I learned, because of whatever I learned from her, I can adapt with other people as well. Exactly. So if there is somebody else that I can maybe work with, or a new friend, and
you don't judge so quickly.
Exactly.
When you meet someone, if they're a little bit standoffish,
that's it.
You know, instead of you're like, oh, it's just, we don't get along.
Mentioning judgment and mentioning different personality types, you posted a photo which, I don't know, it created so much... created so big discussion about it.
Yeah, so this is the photo that I posted when I was on my way back from New Orleans with no makeup on. Yes, so as I said, I like to be very transparent about my journey. Obviously, being in New Orleans for 10 days and posting from morning till night, full face of makeup, full face of hair, looking gorgeous, you know. Everybody must, like, even little kids, even women, even older women might say, oh, these women look good all the time, you know.
That's how Instagram or social media is. That's to show on the positive side.
Exactly. That's the impression that it gives, that everything is perfect. But as I said, I like to go a bit away from the whole stigma of how Miss Universe and how a beauty queen is meant to look. So I said, listen, at the end of the day, these are my followers. They follow me because they like me. So I'm going to be true to myself. So when I was on my way back, I posted the reality of traveling. In fact, actually going to Miss Universe, it was really funny. I traveled for about 36 hours to get from Malta to New Orleans. And obviously, I did my makeup before I left. But by the time I got to New Orleans, it's 36 hours later, I had no makeup whatsoever. So I arrived in New Orleans at 2 o'clock in the morning. And I had some other, I met some of the other girls on the plane, and it was hilarious. So they were doing their makeup, touching up, and I was exhausted, like so tired. And they were a flight from South America, so for them it was only like a 5-6 hour maximum flight, so they were still like super fresh. And I remember all the girls coming out of the airport, like all dressed up and everything. And I remember I had to run for my plane. I almost missed my last leg. I almost lost my luggage. I was just like, I just want to get out of this airport and go to the hotel. So I just changed into something a bit more Miss University, because I was traveling in jeans and sneakers. And I said, you know what? I'm going to walk out of this airport with no makeup. And then afterwards, as soon as I went out to the airport, there were like a sea of fans, cameras and everything. So I was like, okay, this is my reality and this is what's going to happen, and I'm just going to let it happen. So actually, both ways and both airports, I can say I did not wear any makeup, because when I actually landed, in fact, some of the fans that I had kind of met through Instagram that were texting me, they're like, listen, like, you have any makeup like to touch up on? And I was like, No, but this is my reality, you know. This is the reality of happening for 36 hours, you know. I remember I had a spot that came right out over here. And I was like, it's fine. This is my reality. This is what was meant to happen. This is what's going to happen. So then, yes, traveling back, going back to this, the photo of Instagram, traveling back, it was, I decided I wasn't going to wear any makeup at all. So I posted a sequence of photos from when I had left the hotel, when I got to the airport, when I got to the next airport, and when I landed in Malta. And you can see the progression of my face was just, first I was okay first I was fresh, and then I was like, you know, deflating a bit as time passed. There were a lot of women that messaged me and kind of said, like, you know, you're an inspiration. Thank you for being real. Thank you for being real, you know, because it's very important to actually remind the people that are following you that you are a human being at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Some people portray you as an icon, as an image, as anything that anything that we're touchable. That's it. And then on the other hand, yes, I did get the hating comments of, oh my God, how could you have been Miss Universe? And you know, you do kind of, you always see, there's always a pretty side and an ugly side, any situation. You just need to be very aware of that, especially if you're getting into an industry like modeling, into the fashion industry, into the pageant industry, into makeup, beauty. You're going to be judged for everything. And something I learned, you can't make everybody happy.
I think that's in life in general.
In life, you cannot please everyone, you know. You're always going to have somebody who's going to put you on a pedestal, and you always have somebody who's going to keep on digging the hole for you and throw you in it. You know, you just have to be very aware of these things. And I think as a woman, it's important that we speak about these things more often because, well, as you said, in Instagram, everybody's kind of portraying any woman, any man to be on Instagram to be like this holy grail of life, but it's not the case. It's not the case at all.
I think it's about being brave to show your vulnerability, to accept yourself the way who you are.
That's it.
I think the backlash as well.
That's it. But that's what I said. Listen, if I have, because my Instagram following grew quite a bit. I left Malta at 11,000 followers, and I came back 18,000 followers. So I was like, if these 18,000 people are following me, they're following me for the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Exactly.
And if they don't like it, not a problem. The same way you followed me, you can unfollow me. I don't live my life to have as many followers as I could possibly have, as many likes, you know. And even that, you find girls who are people that speak to me and they're like, oh, I didn't get so many likes on my last photo. And I can't. And what?
This thing was it's an illness.
You know, as in the so many times
you liked on Instagram.
That's it. So many times I can post a photo and one day I get 800 likes and one day I get 50 likes. Big whoop. 700 people didn't like that photo, but I liked it. So I'm going to post it on my profile because
I like yourself, not for other people.
And I think that's how I like to use Instagram. I like to use Instagram as a portfolio of my life. But not for other people to review it, to be jealous of it and all of that. It's more for me to look back on. And I'm very grateful actually for Instagram because there are times when, you know, you say changing phones, you lose photos every time you change your phone. And it's just a portfolio of the highlights of your life. Yeah. So there are times even now I want to show my boyfriend something and he tells me, I tell him, man, like I can't find the photos, but it's on Instagram, you know, and I show it to you and I show it to him from like 5 years ago. So that's what's nice.
And I think you can see what a big journey you made.
Yes.
How you change, how you transform.
That's it. You know, even when you look back at the photos and you see the difference in how you looked and the hair color and, you know, even me seeing how I had lost weight and saying, okay, I look better in this and then now, you know, it's all of these things that you appreciate your journey then because it kind of gives you like a shortcut of a reflection of a timeline of your life, which is nice.
So, if someone's looking for some inner worth and self-belief, what advice would you give them?
Oh, I think worth, something that's very important. I think that goes hand in hand with beauty and self-love. I think it's taking care of your mental health. I think that's something that's very, very important. And it isn't just something, okay, you know, you sit down and you make sure that you're not losing your mind. It kind of goes hand in hand in everything. So I know that when I'm feeling, every woman has that time of the month. And every time your time of the month comes, you're bloated, you have a few spots because of your hormones, you're very moody, and then you just feel like absolute horror. Like you feel horrible. So I think it's very important that I try to take some time, because then obviously if I look at myself in the mirror and I'm saying, oh my god, I look fat, I look bloated, I look spotty, and it starts to affect your mental health.
Of course.
Because
you're giving yourself self-criticism, self-doubt.
That's it.
How can you have a good day with that mindset?
That's it. So I always try to take care of my faces, and as I said, when I break out, I try to give myself that little bit extra of TLC. I accept the fact that my cravings are skyrocketing, so I make sure that instead of feeling myself, I try to balance it out a bit, but always answer to your cravings.
You're practicing yoga, right?
Yes, that's what I was going to say as well. So I started yoga. It's something, because after Miss Universe ended, I always said that I wanted to focus on my mental health this year, because my mental health has been a bit of a roller coaster over the last 2 years.
Understandably.
That's it. So I said, you know what, this year I'm going to take care of my mental health. So as you said, I started yoga. And I'm a very, very hyper, bubbly person. So for me to start yoga, I found it very, very grounding, because when you have a mind that's constantly thinking all the time, and then you do yoga and you have to practice being in a self-control, you have to, your mind has to be in a still state. Always focusing on your breathing, and for me that 1 hour when I go to yoga is heaven. It's literally heaven.
I'm thinking of starting soon, because I've been told that I need to stretch. I'm getting all stiff.
No, and it's good because you feel like, that's it, you don't like feel like a kermit and you start going into a ball and you feel like this, like you feel a bit more open, you feel
it's about the connection with your body.
That's it. And
it's because you're an avid yogi.
I love
yes, well, I didn't know this. Okay, how long have you been doing yoga for?
I believe since I moved to Malta. I do it regularly.
That's 5 years. Oh my god.
Especially mornings, it's my routine.
Yes.
When it's just time for me, and
we should do a yoga class.
Yes. Sure. I'm a new so yes.
No, it is. It's honestly, the word I like to use, I find it invigorating. And it's, as I said, it's something that I find very, very calming.
Maxine, you shared with us your Miss Universe Malta journey, which had a lot of challenges. What kind of message you would like to share with our audience, with girls who are watching us and would like to compete in a beauty competition?
Women, ladies all around the world, make sure that you have a dream and you have a goal, and do not let anything get into your way. And if something gets in the way, whether it be good or bad, make sure you channel it towards your goal.
Very wise words. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Maxine, for coming.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to get to know you better.
You would like to choose?
Thank you very much.
We have a yoga date.
Yes.
Very much looking forward to it.
For sure.
Thank you. And thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and turn on the notification bell. And we hope to see you for the next episode.
Cheers.